and welcome to the Tuesday Night Music Show, where occasionally the topic will have something to do with music. I'm your host. My name is Brian. I'm joined by, as always, superstar producer, wingman, cool guy, dude with the big smile, Mr. Howie Darkstar. There he is. Look at that. Look at that. And swinging Pastor Jay from Temecula, California.
What up?
He's here. So, for the first part of the show, I want to talk about the experience that I had at my last gig, which was a homecoming dance. I'm not a homecoming DJ. I'm not a school DJ. It's not my wheelhouse. I'm a wedding DJ. Mm-hmm. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because there were some changes, some things that were real obvious changes from any other dance that I've ever done for this particular school, which, by the way, I've been doing on and off for the better part of 10 years.
Yeah, you have a history with them.
Now, before I go any further, I know it's different where you, I think it's different where you are, Jay. Perhaps it is, but just to be clear, here where I live, elementary school is kindergarten through 6th grade.
Ah, okay. Here it's
okay, and then junior high is 7th and 8th grade only. Mm-hmm. And then high school is 4 classes. You have freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior.
Right.
How does that jive?
Here, K through 5.
That's how it is here.
And
Okay.
K through 5 when I was in Boston. Then we did junior high / middle school, which was 6, 7, 8.
Okay. So
and then high school would be 9, 10, 11, 12. Or freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
So it's a little different.
Yeah.
Just like the hours that we actually are playing music for our typical wedding, which we
it's different. I mean, I have a noise variance. There's no way around.
Right.
The event has to absolutely end at this time.
No,
because everything I do is outside.
Just to be clear, things are different depending on where you live.
Well, look at the gig I just talked about. The pitch is 7 to midnight or 5 to midnight.
Right. But
it's inside a ballroom. Yeah. No, exactly. For schools out here, I know they usually do 2 to 3 hours for these dances. How long was yours?
2.5.
Okay. Yeah. So that's
hours.
line.
So that's pretty. Yeah, that's right.
That's standard.
I think 2.5 is really good for high school.
Yeah.
I think it's almost necessary for junior high school and for elementary schools. You can go longer with high school sometimes, but 2.5 is the sweet spot as far as I'm concerned.
It seems like the norm.
I appreciate the faculty and the planning committee at this particular school for doing the 2.5 hours. I do have I think it's a 3-hour one coming up this Saturday, but that I may not be DJing for a whole 3 hours because it's homecoming. If the game is actually happening the same night, the game could go into overtime. So I might just be ready at 8, but they may not come in until 9 and we just go to 11. So that's 2 hours. So it's hard to say. Last weekend, they had done their game the night before. So they just all came in at 7 o'clock and we went till 9:30. So here's what I'm going to just throw out there. And I know Jay didn't watch the video. Howie probably did. But
Is this the one where you did the school where you had the worst lighting I've ever seen in the history of a gig?
we can talk about that later on in the show.
I don't know if that's the video we're talking about.
No, we're not talking about that one.
Jeez,
okay.
Jay.
Yeah.
Throw him under the bus on his own show.
I believe that was the title of the video, like bad lighting.
DJ lighting fail. But let me get this out before we get ahead of ourselves. So anyway, what? I'll stop it with the text message. So anyway, I can't win tonight.
Wow.
Right. I've been doing this school for a long time. In the school, there's some consistencies that have always happened at this school. I really like the students and the faculty. They're cool. I like them. They like me.
Yeah.
They do more classics than most schools. But having said that, I would say it's probably about half and half. Or maybe even, God damn it, stop it. My kid. Knock it off. Anyway, so where was I?
Mute.
Half and half for the new music and the old music. Okay. And with the new music, they're into what all kids are into. And then like the big song for the night is Darude Sandstorm.
Always a banger.
But it's weird at the school because what they'll do is they'll actually come to me at the beginning of the night and they'll say, don't play Sandstorm until we tell you to, because I want to make sure my faculty and security is in place. Okay.
These are the kids or the teachers?
No, this is the principal.
Oh, okay.
And they'll literally come up to me and say things like, okay, 15 minutes to Sandstorm. Like, okay. 10 minutes to Sandstorm. 5 minutes to Sandstorm. 2 minutes to Sandstorm. It's like a thing.
That's awesome, though.
And there have been years that I have missed DJing their homecomings because I'm booked for other events or something. And then I come back, the following year, and I'm thinking, there's no way they're still doing Sandstorm, and they're still doing Sandstorm. It just never ends.
That's great, though.
Yeah, it's a cool tradition. I look forward to it, and when you play it, the place just completely erupts. The kids go nuts.
Great.
Well, okay, this year was different in a couple ways. The first thing that was different was they wanted more classics than new stuff. In fact, the new stuff didn't do very well. Very few songs that did well. The second observation I made had to do with the dancing itself. It was more House of Pain jump around type thing to anything they liked, and less actual dancing. That included twerking. Okay. It's gone. They're not twerking.
Is it really?
I don't miss it at all, obviously, but they're not doing it. Mm. And then there's what I'm calling the Sandstorm effect. No one said a word to me about Sandstorm, but I know that's the big song, so I saved it for the last song.
There you go.
And it was lukewarm. It wasn't huge.
Whoa, what happened?
Well, that's the interesting part. That's what I wanted to talk about. So I'm like, well, that was different. And I can't believe that after, around 10 years of playing the school, this song has finally run its course.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I've been up here for 2.5 hours. I got to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom. I came out of the bathroom, and there were some girls sitting at this table, because they were kind of, just getting ready to leave or whatever. And they looked at me and said hello. And I said, hi. I said, do you enjoy yourself? I said, yeah, it was really fun. This was our first high school day. I was like, oh, freshmen. They're like, no, sophomores.
They didn't have a freshman year. Yeah.
They didn't have a freshman year.
Right.
Oh, so they don't even know about Sandstorm yet.
That got me thinking, what happened? Some people are saying, oh, yeah, it was only locked down for a year, but it was longer than that.
It was.
It locked down in like late winter, early spring.
Yeah.
Of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So they lost half of their 8th grade,
check this
all
out.
of their 9th grade.
Well, hold on. This is the easiest way that I can articulate this where it makes sense. The only class at this school who has experienced a full normal year are seniors.
Yeah.
That was their freshman year, because their sophomore year got cut short.
Yep.
Their junior year, they didn't have it all.
Nope.
And now they're back as seniors.
Interesting.
Wow. That's crazy. And not only that, but there are two entire classes of students at this school who have never been to a high school dance. 2. Usually there's one, and it's the freshman.
Right.
And any school dance that I've ever done is really heavy with underclassmen. Like, they all go.
Yeah.
And once you get into your junior and senior year, the football players go and the people on the committee go, but not everybody goes. Juniors and seniors have found other things to do. They have cars, they're doing other things. Right. So the dances seem to be underclassmen heavy. And I believe that's what happened this time. So this was like a social phenomenon I've never seen before, where there was no one there to kind of guide them along, because it seems that, and it's got to be true, that we learn by observing. So a freshman,
well, young
comes
kids
in,
emulate old kids. They copy.
the freshman comes in and doesn't know what songs are cool, needs to kind of be told, doesn't know how to dance, kind of watch how the other people dance, try to emulate it,
100%.
those kind of things. What's cool, what's not cool. I don't want to do this because it's not cool, so I'll do it more like they do. It's more cool. There were no leaders to show them what was cool. There was nobody to pass on the sandstorm torch. I mean, typically the freshmen would come in and see these upperclassmen doing this, and they'll join in.
Right.
But there were no upperclassmen there really at any percentage to make a difference to influence them in that regard. So it's brand new. They're starting over. And it was bittersweet that, the sandstorm thing's over. But I will say this, though.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Well, we maybe, but that's got to happen organically. And the way it happened, it seems, was very organic. It was the upperclassmen showing the underclassmen how it's done. And it was like passing the torch. And then by the time the freshmen are of age, they're teaching, they're up on juniors and seniors. They're teaching the new freshmen this stuff. So it's just this ongoing thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing about this, if there's one cool thing about this, besides twerking's gone, or it was at this school anyway, it's that these kids came in there with no peer pressure to do what they do and just enjoy and not feel like they had to be a certain way. They just did their thing, and they weren't worried about what anybody else thought of them, or they weren't worried about being judged, or they weren't worried about not fitting in and trying to do, what the upperclassmen were doing.
It's a nice way to live.
It was kind of nice, that part. But I just thought it was interesting, and I thought it was worth a discussion. If you got anything you want to throw in there, as to how this whole quarantine thing has affected us socially with things like music and dance and such. Before you came in, I was talking with Trevor and Howie, and I was saying how I don't think socially grown men like us are affected. How would we be? We're already kind of developed. We're there.
Yeah.
But when you're in the developmental stage and you don't have this model to look to try to emulate or be like,
right,
that's weird, man.
Totally. No, I totally get that. Well, and as I just said, I was texting, I got a hit for October 15th for a 50-student homecoming dance.
Wow.
About probably 15 miles from here, out in what you would consider to be somewhat of the desert.
Okay.
Because it's out of my town and on the way to different mountain communities and or desert.
I don't know much about sports. How many people are on a football team?
35.
So we got the whole football team, and then 15 of them have dates.
But that's the whole thing. I don't know.
About right.
I agree with your statement about like, oh, I'm a wedding DJ and this is what I do. And I totally agree. But, I also I've always been proud of the journeyman mentality, which is, hey, we're doing a house party. I can do that. Hey, we're doing a Christian high school. I got you. Hey, we're doing a bar mitzvah. I don't do a lot of the games, but musically, I'm with you. So I know where my sweet spot might lie, but I also know what I'm capable of. And in this instance, if he had said it's 600 kids, I would have immediately been like, no. But I wouldn't have said no for the music. I would have said no for the gear. Because I don't want to lug that much gear around. I saw the crowd you had, and I saw the system you had, and I got to admit, even I was a little bit like, that's going to be enough. But, I did a 800 person party in a gym, a father-daughter dance 3 years ago, and it was 2 subs stacked, 2 tops, and then a monitor, and they asked me to turn down twice. So, sound-wise and equipment-wise and lighting-wise, there's variables. But, my son went to his homecoming the other night. He said the 2,000 kids were there. I mean, it was huge. It was outside in the quad. And I was like, how was the DJ? Which, of course, is my first question about everything.
Right.
And he goes, well, like when one song would stop, then they would play another song. I'm like, so they weren't mixing? He's like, no, not what you do. Like, how did you get the gig to play at a high school? Like, well, I'm just going to be blunt. How do you even have the guts to show up at a high school and not mix?
Well, let's touch on that a little later on. We got two things: you got gear and you got mixing. And I'd like to have that conversation. What I'd like to go back to a little bit, because you mentioned it before you talked about those other things, is the journeyman thing.
Yeah,
where you had said it's cool that we can jump into these different roles, and I agree, and I can. When I say that I'm not really a school DJ, I'm not suggesting that I'm not capable of becoming a school DJ pretty quick.
Oh no, I totally understand that. I just think it's one of those at our point in our careers. It's that, when somebody says, what do you do? What is it like? I said it's like a country doctor. You go to see him because your arm's broken, your appendix is ruptured, you can't breathe, you lost an eye, like everything medical, you can go to this one person and they can give you a qualified answer.
Yeah, you can go to a barber and do that in the 1800s too.
Right. But to me, as a DJ today, I take a lot more pride in being able to say, I can do this gig, I can do that gig and that gig and that gig and that gig. But I don't promote myself into the school area, because it's oftentimes not only new music that I may not really be that well versed with, but I'm going to be blunt, and this might shock some of our listeners and viewers. I don't want to do that minute and a half quick mix crap. Like, I don't want to play 80 songs in 60 minutes.
All of that aside, all of that aside, I think that once you get to a certain point as a DJ, I think it's very important to focus and specialize on one thing. Instead of being this jack of all trades, I think it's important to know who you are and know what your strengths are.
Yeah.
And to me, I think my strength is really, being a pretty solid mobile DJ for weddings and things.
Mm-hmm.
There are people out there who their strength is the school stuff. They get it like I don't. They're really good at it.
Right.
Could I become good at it? Yeah, but perhaps I'm not that guy, because I don't want to commit to this giant rig. I don't want to commit to like something bordering on like David Sporn production rig. He was in here talking about production stuff last night. Yeah. I don't want that. That's not what I'm interested in doing. It sounds like a lot of work. It sounds like a lot of people I got to manage.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the return to me doesn't sound like it's very attractive. Well, a wedding with something I can throw in the back of my Suburban with that return, that's attractive.
Well, and we've had this talk, and I think everybody in the industry is in the same loop of, my buddy does a nightclub in LA from 9 to 2 on Fridays and makes the same amount of money that I make, but he makes it for his whole night, whereas I make it in 1 hour. Mm-hmm. So we know the sweet spot of the wedding. Where I would actually disagree 100% with you is, I think the validity of the event is often dictated by the level of experience and professionalism of the DJ. Meaning, when I've gotten hired for the kids' parties, it's traditionally from a wedding I did, where someone walked away and said, this is exactly what I want for my kids, because one, I don't want swears, and this wedding DJ didn't play swears. And two, they were mixing music, and it was fun. They didn't talk the whole night. It was, there was no start and stop crap. But I think most importantly, three, they gauged the music to the crowd in front of them. And people look at us as, you can do this for 10-year-olds, right? Sure. I mean, I famously did my children's elementary school Harvest Fest every October for like 11 years. Then my kids were out of school and already into high school, and they were still calling me because they couldn't find someone that was willing to play to the kids.
Well, I have to stop you right there because I'm trying to figure out what part you're disagreeing me with.
When you say stick to what you know best with the wedding thing, I disagree. I say that's fine.
When I say stick to what you know, I said specialize.
Yeah, but I think you're selling yourself short then. I'm not willing. I'm not willing to join that attitude of, yeah, I might be great at weddings, but I think I can do a damn good high school event. I think I can do a damn good whatever.
Well, I got
so
this
maybe
advice.
I misunderstood what you were saying then.
Well, yeah, right. Well, my thought wasn't really complete, I don't think. I am very tired. I did a Greek Orthodox funeral all day today, so forgive me. Jennifer Ramirez pointed something out to me when I was putting my website together, which, by the way, is offline. I have to redo the whole thing.
Okay.
But we had written it out, and I had said, wedding DJ, open format DJ specializing in, and it was a list of things. Mm-hmm. And she said, this is okay, but how can you specialize in everything? Shouldn't you focus on something to specialize in?
No, some of us are that.
I do this, and this, but I specialize in this. And she's right. It's like you're saying, you don't market to it, but you can do it. So if
I do. I mean, April, I do taxes too. So
I think that's where you break the pages down with wedding, corporate part. I mean, you can expand upon it, but I don't know. This is a weird thing with me. Well, I'm really not a fan of being stuck in the...
No, it's not stuck anywhere, but from a marketing point of view, it's difficult to say that you specialize in everything DJ.
No. And I agree with that. But I think there is a matter of mentioning maybe the things you're comfortable with, which would be weddings, corporate events,
tell you what, man,
parties.
Aside from the equipment, the school dance was a hell of a lot easier than a wedding.
It's much easier than a wedding. There's no stress about, oh my God, this could go south quickly. Mm-hmm. But I've always viewed it as the gear. Like when people go, oh, do you do these events? It's like, I can do them, but these kids are expecting like 4 18-inch subs on each side of me. I don't have that. And like you said earlier, there are people that's their sweet spot. Your good friend down in Florida, I can't remember his name. That's what he does. That's his sweet spot.
You went there, Jay. You went there, didn't you?
Shots fired. Shots fired. Where's Jim? Where's Jim from the showroom?
I'm not taking that.
We need a sergeant of the police force in here right now.
I'm not taking the bait on that one.
No, look, I agree with you, but don't you think it lessens the perception of ability? And here's the thing that we're dancing around. Here, and you're going to agree with me 100%. We're dancing around our age. We're dancing around our age.
No, I'm not doing that at all because I've never been hot for school dances.
You're very old.
There's never been a time in my life where I can't wait to do school dances.
No, but don't you like the diversity? Don't you? I love a weekend where it's like I do a 60th birthday on Friday, a wedding on Saturday, and then some kid's bar mitzvah on Sunday. To me, I walk out of that feeling really proud of my ability as a DJ to say, look, I could do these different events and do them all well.
Well, I'm always trying to keep my chops sharp. I'm trying to make sure that and I could have turned these jobs down. And I probably could have booked a wedding on these dates, but I took
Hold on, I'm sorry. Hi, Naveen. Indian wedding that you can't cover? No, Brian Red will do it. No, guaranteed. Bye-bye.
Yeah, no problem.
Done. See?
I've done them. And I've done
3 days.
I've done them.
Oh, I have too.
Well, we're going a couple different directions here, and it's hard for me to keep up. But as far as I like to do different things. I do different things, and I pull them off. But and this is where you and I are different. We're very different in this regard. You're the DJ who tells everybody that it's going to be awesome and they're going to love it. It's going to be the time of their lives. I'm the DJ who says, hey, you know what?
This could go crap.
If you, I
can't guarantee a thing.
I don't. I don't come in there. I'm not that guy. If somebody I know, and I'm not going to name any names.
I'll be honest with you. Most of you could be dead by the end of the night.
Look, I'm not going to name any names.
I got to be a couple's meeting with you sometime.
There's a guy that I know, and you've met him too.
Yep.
And I don't know why this happened or how it happened, but there's some kind of drop you put on your tongue that's supposed to give you some energy or some vitamins or something.
So
I think it's called meth.
It's something you buy at the. I don't know what it is.
Oh yeah, that's even worse. Ask Robin. That's that fake stuff in Florida where they bite your face off.
And he was talking about how awesome it was and how it gave him so much energy and it was just amazing and awesome and awesome and awesome. And he used awesome like several times in the sentence. Overselling this, whatever it is overselling it. You know,
right.
And I don't want to oversell anything. For me, my style, and there's nothing wrong with what you do. I just know that if I go into a situation where we're gonna have a good time, it's gonna be really nice. But I don't tell them it's gonna be the most awesome, amazing, super happy, fun time they've ever had in their life, because that's just an unrealistic expectation if anything goes wrong. Whereas if I go in and just say, hey, it's gonna be really, we got this, it's gonna be good. It's going to be
the
good.
key thing here is to understand is I tell every one of my clients the exact same thing. I say, I'm going to do the best job I can to make this the best wedding that happens on that date, anywhere. I'm going to bring everything I have. I'm going to use all of my skill and talent, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can, i.e. not drink at the wedding, not eat at the wedding, not take breaks at the wedding. Do whatever it is and everything I need to make this the best wedding you could have ever wanted. I've never guaranteed that. I've always explained it's my goal. It's my
don't you feel that
journey.
Don't you feel that the way that you suggest it, though, it's implied?
It's implied that I'm going to do everything I can. If you give me a great group, we're going to have a great night. If you give me a group that sucks, who can't get their act together and is infighting and wasted and all that, I can only do so much with them.
No,
and I've had those weddings where people go, they're not going to dance, Jay. They're not going to dance. And I go, okay, then I'll focus on playing music that will make them stay. I won't play too loud. I'll do this. I'll do that.
With things like
I'm not guaranteeing it as much as I would love to say it.
With things like a quinceañera, I'll have people obviously call me and want me to do them. Either they just want me to do it or Art's already booked or something. And I tell them, hey, look, it's not really what I do. I can do them. There are guys out there who specialize in this.
Yeah, exactly.
I can do them though. So if you're cool with that, I don't speak Spanish, but I've got the music. I can take requests. I'm pretty good at programming for Latin audiences.
You more or less can speak Spanish, Brian. Come on.
No, I can't speak Spanish.
I say quesadilla. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, compared with me, at least, you're a little more Spanish than you give yourself credit. Queso. No, I mean, I've done, believe it or not, I have done one. And again, I'll give you the example. I took a lot of pride in the fact that I played enough Spanish music and Latin music that people came up and started to request in Spanish. And I said, I'm really sorry I don't speak Spanish. You don't? Like, dude, you're killing it. This is the best vibe. Like, these cumbias, you're mixing. It's all great. And I'm like, but that's my job. That's as I see it. I feel like we're soldiers sometimes. We don't pick the fight. The fight picks us.
Here's what's interesting about...
And when we show up, we do what we have to do.
When it comes to the quinceañera stuff, and when it comes to mixing or playing Latin tracks, here's the thing that I don't think that we realize, and this is why they think we're cool. Latin DJs are no different than Americano DJs, where most of them are all kind of playing the same tracks the same way. Not all, but most.
Okay.
You can count on the Cupid Shuffle. You can count on You Shook Me All Night Long. You can count on certain things to be played. Like you can, time an egg to this stuff. It's going to happen. Latin DJs do the same thing with Latin music. So when we step in and we have the tracks in front of us and we put them together in our own way, they're so happy that they're just not hearing the same thing played the same way.
That's a good observation.
Different. Yeah.
That's a great observation.
I've gotten that compliment before. well, the club I play is like, what we like about you is you're not doing the same old tired ish that every other DJ comes here and does.
Because we don't know.
I don't know.
But again, this is part of the journeyman experience where you come in with wide eyes and go, I have all this Latin music. I mean, I have a ton of Latin music. I have even more now because of my good friend JC in Mexico City, who's actually in the room right now. And, I did a gig the other night where the bride and groom are both Mexican. And yet their request list had zero music that was anything Latin. So it was up to me to bring things in. But it was the kind of crowd where I broke my own rules and played like Carnival into Suavemente. Well, one's 104, one's 118.
And one's a merengue and one's a salsa. But that's neither here nor there. It's
No. I know that. But it came down to, and I did the I'll screw it up, so help me. That it's the Achy Breaky Heart in Spanish.
No rompes más.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
I did that, but I followed it with Danza Kudo. Now, it blew up the dance floor because it was a vibe thing, not a Latin music thing. And it was more like, oh, do you like how, like if I do a house set, I'm still throwing back to Eric Prydz and Tiesto and Alice DJ, and people flip out. So the experience is more of what I'm looking at than I am about this only goes with this because this is a cumbia and this is a salsa. But wait, this one's a merengue. Like, I don't care what it is. If they work together and people freak out, that's what counts.
Yeah, they're just classic tracks. But
it goes back to that journeyman attitude of like, what's in front of me? Oh, I've got an Irish crowd. Okay, I'm going to play this and this and this, and that will work. Oh, I've got a German crowd. I wouldn't play anything actually because I wouldn't know what to play. But
I would like to talk about your rule that you just referred to. We kind of touched on it, or you kind of touched on it earlier, and I backed you out of it so we could dissect your
all right, bring
thoughts.
It. You got a little attitude because I'm not going to lie.
I like your thoughts. Okay. I like your thoughts, but I want to be able to respond to them.
Okay.
So when you throw 8 of them at once, I got to stop you. We got to chop them up. We got to dice them.
Well, I'm muting myself to take a hit, so now would be a good time to talk.
Beat mixing.
Maybe he tried one of those things under his tongue thing. I don't know.
The droplets, the awesome droplets. I've had a few people ask me specifically, are you not beat mixing all night long? Because if you're not beat mixing all night long, you're missing an opportunity.
I've heard that too. I met with DJs last week who said they beat mix during cocktail and dinner, and I'm like, the random cocktail track, the once in a blue moon dinner track. But to me, the beat mixing is the dancing section of the night, and I start slow and build high, and I 100%, 99.8% try to make every track beat mix or work with the next track. I'm not a fan of just going slow, hot, fast, and all that.
If I told you that I have, on more than one occasion, beat mixed an entire night, would you believe me?
Yeah.
Okay. If I told you that, this is something that I would just be capable of at any given time that I wanted to do, would you believe me?
Yeah.
Those are true statements.
Yeah, no, I know
I've done this. I
have too. And I know you have. Absolutely can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't. But just because I can doesn't mean I do it.
No,
but because you can doesn't mean you should.
No, but I bet you've been to a club, as have I, on a big night with a lot of people, and literally walked out of there and said to yourself, the DJ didn't beat mix one track, and the dance floor was packed the entire time.
Oh,
and I'll ask you a simple question. I'll give you 2 choices, Brian. Pick one. You either can be a perfect beat mixing DJ or a perfect programmer. Which would you pick?
I knew you were going to go there.
Yeah, we've discussed this.
Yes, we have. And I've asked Dave Ade, Chris Cox, a bunch of DJs.
Always programming.
And they always say programming because it is true. There are times and there are times, I will admit, there are times I've held myself back from programming where I've been like, that's not going to mix at all, though. And then I've had to let go of that and say, no, it is right to drop Vanilla Ice here, even though it's 116 and I'm down here at 110, because that guy keeps grabbing his ankle and the dance floor will blow up.
I'm going to say something that's really going to trigger anybody out there who prides himself as a beat mixing DJ.
Oh, here we go. You're just like the anti-DJ in that, aren't you?
No, I'm not anti-DJ. I'm just anti-hardliners. And I hate it when anybody hardlines something like an artistic expression of music. You must do it this way or it's wrong.
No, I don't think it should ever be you have to do something.
Well, this is the attitude that I'm getting from people. And what I'm about to say is going to trigger somebody, but this is not a difficult skill to master or perform. It's not that hard.
Programming is difficult to master.
Programming is
a constant journey, and it's a constant evolution.
Black art.
It is, and it's always changing.
Learning how to beat mix is like learning how to play the violin in 5th grade orchestra class.
Oh man,
it is.
I can see
a lot of kids can do it. Some are better than others.
I just got 13 videos on YouTube.
It sounds very good.
Brian Red is wrong. Wow. No, you're right. No, you're right. But the artistry of being a DJ is not the beat mixing. The artistry is what tracks are you beat mixing. The artistry is when you do, and I'm not paying myself a compliment. I'm just making this statement. The wedding years ago, when I suddenly stumbled into Happy by Pharrell, into Taylor Swift Shake It Off, into Outkast Hey Ya, as a 5-minute mix.
Mm-hmm.
That to me was the programming aspect, where people freaked out over each track and they cut into each other so quickly because they were all the same BPM and the same key.
Right.
So on the skill level, it wasn't that impressive. But to an audience, it made me look like, whoa, just like when I do Little John Turn Down for What into Luke Bryan Country Girl Shake That for Me.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
understand. The fun of it is stumbling upon those moments. That's what excites me still.
I did the playlist video from the gig where I listed every track I played, and I told everybody what the reaction was to every track. And if I had it available with a very low volume, I actually played the audio clips to prove that it worked with the audience dancing. I did that video yesterday. And
okay, that one I have not seen. I did see the one where you were there and the lighting and all that stuff. And I know that I saw where you were setting up speakers. Well, and by the way, I have to say real quick in front of everyone, I can't tell you. I spoke with Pulse and probably 2 other DJs. In fact, one of them was B. Diddy, who I had lunch with yesterday.
Right, saw that picture.
And I said to him, I said, you know what? Nothing but respect to Brian for going out and lugging 2 subs, 2 12-inch tops that are not 10 pounds on speakers, full setup with some lights, and doing this event solo. I'll be honest, if I was you, I would have been like, here's $100, somebody come help me. So I've got nothing but respect for you for pulling this gig off and doing it with 0 complaints. Zero whining.
And he's going to do it again this week.
But that's my point.
I got art this week.
Oh, but still, the fact that you pulled that whole thing off.
Yeah.
And the fact, and I'm only saying it because you were up front in the video where you said, hey, I only have the one arm to really do this, and here's how I can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and Mike Ryan of Frankenstand, if you ever get to a point in your career where there's an issue with getting a speaker up on a stand, even though there's a great Brian S. Red video that he did years ago, pre-stroke, where he showed how to lift a heavy speaker on a stand by putting the speaker on the ground, the stand into the speaker, and then pick the speaker up and walk it back. Do you remember that video?
It was actually a sub pole.
Was it a sub pole?
Yeah, Howie accused me of doing that with a tripod last night.
I thought you did it with a tripod.
No, that was with a sub.
Yeah.
That was a sub on that side with a sub pole sticking out of it.
Oh, okay. I thought you did it with a tripod.
No, I'll tell you what. You keep talking because you're going to anyway, and I'll find the video and show it to you.
Yeah, no, it's a great video.
Yeah,
it's only outdone by the cigarette smoking. I'm changing out the drivers and my JBL speakers in my driveway, and it's 12 degrees out.
This is some serious classic BSR here. If I can.
Oh, this is old school. Yeah, if the red truck's in it, it's old school.
It's a 42-second video. It has
Not long.
51 likes and 30 dislikes, which is fun. Okay.
30 dislikes? That
Yeah.
same guy just kept rewatching it and disliking
Yeah, that
it?
same
Over and
guy.
over and over
He's-
again.
Ah,
Yeah.
God's sakes.
So look, there's a sub there. Okay.
Oh, okay. I always thought it was a tripod.
No, I got 2 hands. It's magical. Don't have a bald spot yet. A lot more hair.
Look at the way you kick the speaker, you tough guy.
Oh, heck yeah. Just grab the sucker, stick it on there, and I walk it up.
Oh, that thing's bending a little there, huh?
Oh,
Just
yeah,
a
of course
little.
it is. Like the date,
60,000 views.
January 21st, 2007.
Yeah. Look at the editing ability you didn't have back then. Camera sideways, hand over the lens, like, well, what the hell is going on here?
Dude, that was 14 years ago. Give me a
Yeah.
break. Almost 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
But no, I mean, you know, and I didn't know anyone would ever see that stuff that they did.
Well, you know.
Well, as far as
No,
the
but so yeah, but
goes,
real
you know.
respect for the fact that you know
No.
when I saw the final, at least like I said, I'm not making fun of it. I'm saying the last one I saw was the lighting where the full setup was there, and I'm like, holy jeez, he's got like 300 kids there. Like,
No, he
This
had
dude's-
750 kids there.
was it that many?
Yep.
Oh,
Watch the video again.
wow. No, like
I'm
I
glad
said,
it was dark in there because
it was very dark. I didn't see. It looked like a lot of kids. It didn't look like 700, and I'm not questioning that. I'm saying,
it was
you know,
750.
wow.
At
It was that
first,
room with all
when they were-
glass.
I
So
think at
the
first
lights
when-
were just doing their thing.
I had them in corners because that's the only place I had reflective surfaces.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
ceilings were brown.
Is it, by the
So-
way, is this that Catholic school that you did years and years and years ago?
No,
Okay, so this is a different one that you've
Yeah,
still
this
done
is
for like 10 years.
yeah,
Okay. You know the
this
one
is-
I'm talking about, right?
no.
Back in like 08, 09, I ended up talking to you and you were going out there and it was this like totally cool Catholic high school that you used to DJ and they were super into like, you know, different music, but not the stuff you would expect. I remember having these talks with you. And it was a group of kids that you really liked DJing for, and they knew who you were. Think back. We're talking like 08,
Are you
09.
sure? Are you sure it was a Catholic school? 'Cause
That seems to ring out. Maybe
it sounds
I'm
like
wrong,
the school I just did,
but
which again isn't the same school anymore because of this whole sandstorm.
right.
thing.
But did you do them like in 08, 09?
I might have.
Okay, then maybe
I may
this is
have.
it. Maybe the Catholic part's just me hoping.
It may have been longer than that. Yeah, I said about 10 years. Maybe it was longer. I lost a lot of stuff, but no, I mean, I don't know. As far as me doing what I do with what I have to work with, so I guess the only thing I have to say about that is the important thing is to think it through. So I would never do anything now, especially now. Okay, fine. The video that I did, maybe that's a little different, but I would never do anything today that would put me in some kind of danger. So I
Right.
wouldn't do anything if I didn't feel like I couldn't do it.
But I also think that
No.
you should be not so much applauded for what you've done, but have people stop for a moment and realize this is what a great DJ is capable of doing with what he has at his, you know, in front of him versus like man, this gig. It's like, again, it's that journeyman aspect that I think all of us, and I think you exemplified much more than most of the ability, because I don't know anybody alive today on the planet that really has that end game of music, which makes me realize as a great DJ that you could DJ absolutely any event. I would recommend you for any type of music because you have it. Granted, your sweet spot is
Down a little bit there,
freestyle,
pal.
freestyle or Prince. I'm just saying, just, you know, I know that.
No,
going
let me.
into it.
I'll say this about the disability thing. Again, like I was saying.
No, I'm saying quality of being a DJ. Forget the disability. I'm saying you. That's why when you say, well, you know, my sweet spot, your sweet spot's everything, Brian. You're selling yourself short.
Well, no, I told you if I spent some time, give me a month's worth of schools, and I'll become the school dance DJ. Fine,
That's my
I'll
point.
do it.
But
I don't care
because of who you are
But-
and what the talent you have.
but I got this other talent that I feel like is more valuable, not money wise, but just skill wise and artistic wise. That's I feel like I should be doing. I could do this nightclubs. Shoot, I haven't done a club in a long, dude. I don't think I've done a club in 10 years.
You did no, dude. You did one 2 months ago at Beret, and you killed
That didn't
it.
count. I'm
Ask
talking about.
Howie.
I'm talking about walking in, paid gig, earning my keep club. I haven't done that 10 years.
So what?
You put me in a club. You give me, dude. You give me Monday through Thursday at a club, and I'll rock your weekend because
Please.
it's not that hard. Once you kind of get, reacclimated to it, it's like riding a bike. It's not a big deal. You just got some new tracks to learn and make some observations, and you do it. But even with that, I still believe that. And the other thing is, I try to be modest about this stuff at the same time. I don't want to say, I'm the best DJ and I can do this and this. No. Yeah, you know what? You could probably make a better choice if you want to put somebody in a club tomorrow. Now, if you really needed me in a club and it was going to be like this thing where I was going to invest time and we were going to, give me some time to kind of get acclimated to it, yeah, I'll take care of it for you. If I need to be the school dance DJ this season, fine, I'll be the school dance DJ this season. I can't do it twice. I got to do it like 8 times. And I'll be like a really good value for you. I'll take care of it. You're going to be happy with the results. A better place for me to be is weddings. It's a better place for me to be.
I see this. I see this today with younger DJs, and what I see is their sweet spot becomes the newer realm of music, which lends itself to schools, but it also lends itself, if they can be hypey, to weddings. And my argument's always been, yeah, but that's the beauty of being an old DJ, because you only get better with age, because I can learn all the new crap that comes out. I can play the new Drake song, big deal. But you can't learn the old Frank catalog and the old Nat King Cole catalog and the old Righteous Brothers catalog and the disco catalog. It's much harder to pick up the old stuff than it is the new stuff.
It's more challenging to do.
It's like you had that gig recently where you were like, what are the TikTok tracks? Well, here are the 12 TikTok tracks. Okay, whether you need them or not.
Nothing at this gig, by the way.
Exactly. That's the weird part. And excuse me, what I find amazing is we're having a discussion about a gig you did a few days ago, but I'm thinking back to that beautiful venue where you were up on the second floor like a month ago. That was a school dance, correct?
No.
What was that?
No, that was a 14-year-old birthday party.
Same thing. Thing.
It was pretty similar. These are kids who have gone to the same Catholic school together. Okay. A group of them, of 30 kids.
I wonder where I got the Catholic school thing from. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
They've gone to school together from kindergarten through 8th grade. Now they're going on to high school. They want to have one last party. So the excuse one of the moms made was to have a party for her 14-year-old daughter and invite all the kids so they could have one, like, say goodbye and one less.
That's totally awesome. Totally awesome.
That's what it was.
Jay, maybe you have Frank Zappa's earworm Catholic girls going on in your head.
I very well might. Howie,
he's kind of fixated on that Catholic girl thing.
Well, I just saw a thing with Dweezil Zappa, so it may have kind of like bled over. No, you know what? I don't care what the gig is. I don't care where it is. I personally have always had a working ethic of, when I was a bartender, I tried to be the best bartender I could be. And when I was a manager, I tried to be the best manager. Well, as a DJ, since it's more of an artistic thing, I really take an immense amount of pride when I tell someone I'm a DJ. I don't scuttle it with like, I own an entertainment company. I'm the CEO of an entertainment division. I'm a mobile DJ operating blah, blah, blah. I'm a DJ and I take an immense amount of pride in that, because what I love about it is I view it like the old West. I view it like we're gunslingers. Like, you walk into town and you go, what the heck's going on here, Brian? Man, they're super into dubstep and deep bass and trance. All right, my friend. And I whip back the leather jacket and out comes the hard drive, plug it into Serato and I throw down a set. Like that means a lot to me. I'm not lying. I take an immense amount of pride being able to say, I could do a set on a side stage at EDC. I've told the story famously about Tiesto. I can go do Tiesto's set. I'm not going to be as good. I'm not Tiesto, but I can do a trance set for his audience. But the next weekend when I call his manager and say, I can't do my wedding, can Tiesto come do it? The answer is no, he can't. It doesn't make me a better DJ. It just makes me what I consider to be more of a journeyman DJ, where it's like the country doctor. I'm always prepared. The old mechanic that can fix every car that comes his way, not because he specializes in Fords or Toyotas, but because he's a mechanic and he's got an ear for it and he's got a vision for it and he's got a feel for it and he can do what he's supposed to do to fix it. That's what I think of myself. Brian, Howie, most of the chill room, if not everyone in the chill room, I take an immense amount of pride and love and joy in being able to announce to people I'm a DJ, and that's what a DJ is to me. Someone that can entertain a crowd anywhere at any time.
I think my favorite and proudest moment is when I've done the parents' wedding, and a mixed family, and their 16-year-old daughter says, I want the DJ that was at your wedding for my sweet 16. It's like, what? Really? Okay.
That's awesome. That's isn't this always the goal? I'm doing a wedding September 1st, which is a Thursday, 2022. My bride, Khalees, was a bridesmaid at her cousin's wedding in October of 2007. And she remembers having a great time, and she wanted to hire me. That's the goal. The goal is it's a job, it's an income, it's a moneymaker. But along the way, you have to deliver. You have to come in at 100% and try and make everything as great as you can. You can't be on your phone. You can't be drinking. You can't be taking breaks. You can't be running around talking to people trying to hook up. You've got to focus on your job.
I went to a Greek Orthodox funeral today. And what was interesting about it was every time I thought it was over, it wasn't over. It was going. It's kind of like Jay.
Kind of like Groundhog
Every
Day.
time you think it's over,
there is none of this.
He can wrap it right there. He could rap, but he's not going to rap. He's going to keep going. Tell us more about scripture. That's what.
No, I mean, I really get fired up on this. I really, really do, because I think, Brian, oftentimes we undersell ourselves, and I really take umbrage when DJs at shows, especially, get so focused, and you know this because you and I have had this talk, get so focused on, oh man, I'm buying a second photo booth because I'm going to make 12% more at every wedding, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, but do you give a shit about your client? Do you care about what you have to do as the DJ?
I feel the same way about the DJs who preach the gospel of beat mixing, though. It just seems like it's like this
if
one.
That leads before the choices, then yes, I agree with you. Even though I pride myself in it.
Oh, you must do this because it's
it's your programming.
Do you know why beat mixing is cool?
Oh my God. Oh, you're playing a different key song. Oh my God.
You know what purpose beat mixing serves? I mean, do you know?
Yeah, I do. You look cool to
what
the girls.
Is it?
You look cool to the girls.
Right.
Everyone knows that.
The purpose of beat mixing is continuity. If the continuity isn't broken, you don't notice the change. And if you don't notice the change, you just continue doing what you were doing.
Right, exactly.
If you're dancing, you continue dancing. If you're sitting on your ass, you continue sitting on your ass. It's not going to change.
Young people dance to the song they think is cool. Old people dance to the beat. You can get old people into young songs by being consistent with the beats.
Okay, so this is going to bake your noodle.
Here we go.
If you want to talk,
well, you know what? He goes to one funeral, and this is what.
If you want to talk beat mixing at events, let me tell you a set that I beat mix at every event. Almost every event.
It's going to be
Almost every event. There's 3 songs. And I invite you to look at the BPMs of these songs. These are the 3 songs that I beat mix in this order. Electric Boogie, Cha Cha Slide, Cupid Shuffle.
Oh, so 109, 123, 140. It's a jump.
143.
It's a jump.
128 to 143.
It's a jump.
And they don't even like realize I'm playing the Cupid Shuffle.
No, but that's
until they hear round, round, do your thing. We're into the song already.
Right. Because you're doing a loop
It
probably
serves
in the beginning.
a purpose. That's
that's programming.
No, but let me just get this out, because I need someone to hear this who keeps harping on me about beat mixing. Whoever you happen to be, it serves a purpose. I've got people on a dance floor in lines.
Yeah.
Like in formation. If I change something, then people are going to say, oh, something's different. And they may walk away.
Right.
If I've already got lines and they're not realizing something has changed, they're not going to think about walking away because there's continuity. But what they will say is, oh, I know this one too. And I'm already out here. So the beat mixing serves a purpose of continuity in that case. On the other hand, let's say that I did this set. And let's say I had, I don't know, half of the crowd engaged. Half. Not all, half. Most of the guys weren't doing it. Most everybody over 40 wasn't doing it. I'm just throwing that demographic out there. I've got people out there that I could be engaging. I'm not.
Right.
Would it be wise of me to continue to beat mix out of Cupid Shuffle into something else that's not a line dance?
Soldier Boy, Crank That is a good mix because it's 71 BPM.
The answer to that is no. The answer is no.
So I'm just saying.
What I would do at that point is I would play something that had, because, okay.
It is. It's a great way to get out of Cupid Shuffle. Go to Crank That by Soldier Boy.
Listen to me.
72.
Listen to me. Cupid Shuffle has a cold ending. We got a brand new style, y'all. Pause a beat and play something completely different.
Yes.
It's
a great transition track.
Oh, something happened. What was that? Oh, a different song. I like this song.
Lizzo, Truth Hurts. Do the piano intro, loop it. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you play, but it's an abrupt ending.
Just saying.
When something changes, people take notice. If it's the same, they call it trance for a reason, guys.
Yeah. Well, because you're coming from clubs. Brian, how many guys didn't do clubs where they had to clear the dance floor so people would drink? Otherwise, you wouldn't get another hire.
But there's a reason I don't beat mix out of that, because I'm engaging a different audience.
And you're trying to spin the floor sometimes in your brain, like the old days. Like, I got to get them to the bar. So now I'm going to go over here to this. Totally different crowd.
The reason
because then people get a loop through the floor.
I really don't care how much they drink at weddings or how well the bar does it.
No, I don't either. That's why my goal is to try to get the highest concentration.
There's rotating of dance floors at clubs, but in this particular case, that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because I literally want to engage everyone there. I want to give everybody a little something.
Nope.
You just did 3 line dances. Maybe you'd like to go get a drink.
Well, in the context,
but I don't care how the bar benefits.
No, I don't care if the bar benefits at the wedding. No, that's not the goal at all.
What I care about is whether or not the people who are sitting down are enjoying themselves or not. So I'll give them something maybe they'll like and they can come out. So it's a different motivation, but it's the same concept. Yes.
But it's also that night. I famously did a wedding years ago where actually Brian.
Notice how he famously does all these things?
Famously.
No, remember the egg lights that American DJ had? Remember those white plastic egg lights?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian had sent me 4 of those to see what they were like. And I was like, okay, they suck. But they, I put them on my table and they blinked red, green, blue. But the wedding that I was doing, the bride had met the groom because he was the caretaker of her younger brother who had some mental issues and was actually in a hospital. They fall in love, they get married. The brother's there with some of his friends, and the bride had said, my brother loves the Macarena. So I play the Macarena. The brother comes out, his friends from the hospital come out. They're all jamming. Well, now the bride and groom come out, and now the family comes out. I did every hokey pokey, Cupid shuffle, cha-cha, like anything that had a line dance. And I had a full dance floor for like 7 songs in a row. It's why I don't let people come to weddings. Because if you'd come there, you would have said, oh my God, the goofiest DJ, YMCA, are you kidding me? This is not what we want. But for that moment in that time, that's exactly what worked. And that's exactly what you just said. You do the right thing for that crowd at that time, at that moment, and nothing else matters. That's why when people say, I got like 2,000 songs on my hard drive because they always work. No. Don't ever sell your clients short. You bring everything. You bring every gun you have, every round, every opportunity, because you're going to have that night where you suddenly go, oh my God, you know what would kill right now? Dramarama, anything.
Let me tell you the thought process. So you're right. I'm not worried about what songs match up with what other songs all the time. Sometimes I am. If I'm in a EDM set, fine. But most of the time I'm not doing that. So what I do is I think to myself, what's the best choice for the next song? After I have that song in front of me and I'm confident it's the best choice for whatever reason I've decided it is. Maybe it's the dance floor that's happening. Maybe it's the dance floor that's not happening. That's when I figure out, okay, if this is the next song, what's the best way to make this transition? Is it a beat mix? Is it a slam? Do I come in on a note? Do I pause it? Do I black out and come in big? Do I do
maybe a loop?
Fade? What do I do?
Go out. Oh,
yeah.
That's when you make the decision. But so many of these folks, and this is what we got away from it earlier, and I just wanted to touch on it because it's starting to kind of piss me off. All these, are you beat mixing yourself? Shut up. I'm playing music. And I do all kinds of stuff. Beat mixing is one of those things. Learn a new thing, guys. So all you know how to do is beat mix tracks. And all your tracks have to line up BPM wise, and then all night and you start here and you end up there.
I know where this comes from. I 100% know where this comes from. And I can tell you, and you will either smile and say you're right, or you will lie and like, oh no, that's not it.
I'll lie.
Are you ready? Here's where it comes from. And I'm going to tell the audience of millions that are watching right now, Brian's got the attitude that started this whole thing with one of the greatest stories of music in the dance realm at a place called The Loft with David Mancuso, who famously was not mixing, but programming so well that people's minds were blown. And you have always referenced David Mancuso to me.
I'm the one who turned you on to that story.
You are. 100%. I was like, who's David Mancuso? I knew Larry Levan. I didn't know The Loft.
Here's the
so I think that's where you come from. I think that's your roots, where you're like,
here's the dirty secret.
It's programming.
With me, I was already practicing this before I heard that Larry Levan did it, or before David Mancuso did it.
Right.
It just
even though Larry Levan did not mix that well either, from what I've heard from people that were there.
Before Mancuso,
he was about programming as well.
Of Mancuso in The Loft.
Yeah,
I was doing this before I was like discovered this in a book. I was already doing this. All the story did was kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Affirm what I was already doing, and it was probably the right thing to do.
Right. That's
all it did. But
anyway. Demigod. Excuse me. Sorry.
We're running overtime. We should probably go. Any final thoughts, Jay?
You know what? Do what you do well, but if you can do something else and do that well too, give it a shot.
Do a lot of things. Well, that's our show, and if we're lucky, we'll be back next week.
Keep one fist in the gold, one foot in the gutter. And if the creek don't rise, next Tuesday.
And don't eat the yellow snow.
Never.
Frank Zappa again.
Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next week.
Peace.